everybody, and welcome to the Canyons for what I promise you should be a pretty special video. And a special welcome to those of you coming over from roadandtrack.com. I actually got a gig over there. Travis Akulski hooked it up. Be writing a few stories for roadandtrack.com. Hopefully work my way into the print book with the big boys, Sammy and Jack. But until then, welcome to Road and Track, people. This is the Guntherwerks 400R, hereafter referred as the Guntherwerks. What does Guntherwerks mean? Nothing. It's just a German guy's name that sounds cool. This car was developed and built by the guys behind Vorsteiner Body Kits. And before you roll your eyes, let me explain to you that having now tested this car, these are people whose priorities are in order. This car was not styled and then engineered. It was engineered and then styled. So as you look at this car, recognize that the key party trick here is the front. At the front, this car has been widened so that the front track width matches the rear track width. This car is now as wide as a Porsche 991 GT3 RS at the front and the rear, while being significantly shorter. It's also extraordinarily light, 2,660 pounds, and that's thanks to a significantly lightened interior and a body that is entirely made of carbon fiber except for the outer door skins. Vorsteiner, being able to make carbon fiber body panels, has experience in that area, and that's why they can do it. Under the hood, or the rear hatch bonnet, if you will, is a 4-liter Rothsport flat 6 with a Motec engine management system. The stock Carrera 2 on which this is based was a 270 horsepower engine. This makes 431 horsepower, and it actually has a sport mode here with the valved exhaust. Right now, I'm in regular mode. Sounds pretty healthy, and now I'm going to hit the sport button, which will open the valve in the exhaust, but it also changes the tune on the car, and you get 30 horsepower. That's how you get to the 430. Oh, and you get a bass note to go with it. So enough yammering and stammering, and how about we drive and talk? I will admit that at first I did not know what to make of this car. It's not a singer, right? And it's not like an Andile. It's not a race car. What was the deal? What was the point? But the more I poked around and looked at it, the more it started to make sense. Okay, so here's how they do it. They take a 993 Porsche, pull the motor, send it to Rothsport, goes from 270 to 430 horsepower, and it revs to 7,800 RPM. Then they rebuild the gearbox, custom ratios. It's a 6-speed, but it's got close ratios 1 through 5, and then an overdrive 6, sort of like a Corvette. So you can have real sporty ratios for the canyons or the racetrack. Make use of that 7,800 RPM red line, and then also have decent touring fuel economy. This car is designed to be potentially an everyday car, and it could be. The seats, although they're race inspired, are comfortable. It's easy to drive. The clutch is light, although the throw is short, and it can be a little grabby. They're still working on the feel, but you could drive it every day. Seating position and visibility are typical 993 good. Party tricks number 2, electric power steering and electric air conditioning. The 993 series of 911 did have power steering, unlike the old ones before, like I had. And what this does is it leaves the hydraulic steering system, but it has an electric pump in the front instead of one driven off of a pulley. So it saves you horsepower. Listen to that. According to Peter Nam, the car's developer. The electric power steering system and air conditioning combined, 1 horsepower. That's what it takes to run them. And hang on a minute, it's tunnel time. 3rd gear, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. Brake pedal feel is nice and tight. Brembo GT calipers, and I think 360 millimeter front rotors, 6 piston up front, 4 piston rear with ABS. Very good stuff. This car is so light but so solid. It hasn't been lightened to the point where it feels cheap. It feels expensive. Now let's talk about the turn-in. 911s typically have this unbelievably staggered, especially the 993s and newer, have a real stagger in the front to the rear. Narrow, smaller wheels, big wide rears. We're still running staggered tires here. 245s in the front and 315s in the rear. But the whole track width has been pushed out. If you put regular 993 body panels on this car, most of the front wheel and the entire front brake assembly would be completely outside of that bodywork. Does that sound familiar? It should. My Mustang is the same way. The ethos behind my Mustang's handling has really been applied by the Guntherwerks team to this 993. And so when you explain to me that scenario, I really get it more than most people. And, oh, by the way, did I mention that it's like crazy fast? Because it's crazy fast. And we're just going to mob for a second, okay? Good shifter feel. Really easy to match revs, good pedal placement. So crazy about it is the amount of grip at the front, how well it sticks, paired with how little steering effort is involved to get it to stick, especially for an old car. And then how well it rides. What happens when you widen the track width like this and you change the control arms, the entire geometries of the car, is you can get insane levels of grip without compromising ride quality, and this car rides beautifully. It also has hydraulic nose lift, by the way, which is very cool. It's a screamer. It's a screamer. These gauges are beautifully machine turned. Extraordinary how fast it is. Woo-hoo! Shout out to Joey Seeley of Motion Engineering for doing the final chassis development on this car. Whenever I drive old cars, people always say stuff to me like, oh, it's an old car that feels like a new car. And that's usually horse shit. It's usually an old car that feels much better than it's supposed to feel. Take my Mustang as an example. That don't feel like a new car at all. That feels like an old car that has no business turning in as hard as it does. This may be the exception because it's got modern steering, which is really, really weird. It doesn't have old car steering. It wondering, I've spent this entire video so far above 4,500 RPM. This car originally had a sunroof. They took the sunroof out, left a carbon roof. That saves some weight. It's got a carbon front, carbon rear seat to lead. Many decisions were made for the weight saving. This thing has a pretty kickin' stereo too, but they deleted the rear speakers and have carbon front surrounds. This is a thought out car. This video is gonna be a little longer than normal because I'm just gonna mob up upper big T here because it's glorious. It's a very hard thing to have something this old inspire this much confidence. Body control is like right there. I mean, there was a mid-corner bump right there, and this thing just took it. No adjustment in steering necessary at all. Oh. Downshifted from 4 grand. Such easy downshifts. Easy to heel toe. Easy to balance. Look at the confidence. Grip. Wow. This is some car, my friends. This is some car. You know, the finish work on the interior is really nice. The fact that you've got electric air conditioning and a lot of things that can make it easy to daily drive. In fact, check me out. I'm going to press this button here. Nose lift. The front end is going up 3.5 inches. Front end hydraulic nose lift. Let me tell you something. Everyone involved in this car, from Peter and his crew at Vorsteiner to the guys at Rothsport to Joey and whoever he's working with at Emotion Engineering, this is a well-rounded vehicle if there ever was one. Everything about this car is purposeful, and it's not overstyled or overdone. If you're asking me, the wing is not my taste, but he says they'll do a ducktail if you want that, in which case I'm 100% on board with that. But okay, so it's not a Singer. It doesn't have leather work inside that would make your tailor have an orgasm. It's not that level of that direction of crazy. It's not backdated. It's not a distilled ends of the purest of 911s. What it is something that looks kind of like a 993 GT2, but with much better front geometries and turn-in, but it's got daily drivable ability and usability, but that also has that NA high revving power band, and also has that look, that style of a small vintage Porsche, but with performance that is, you know, truly right there with what you could get out of a modern 991 GT3. Holy shit, this was crazy. Check out my article on Road and Track. I'm going to write some more stuff. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn around and make a video where I go right back to that starting point without talking. I think I'm just going to drive and have noise. So you can watch that, I think. That'll be fun. And, wow. Wow, 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 wow. Shout out to Guntherwerks and their teams, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.